My plan was just to get base hits every day on 20 accounts, make $500 to $1,000 an account, which in futures sounds easy, but it just, I like the saying, scared money don't make money, but I had the plan, stuck to it. I was just like every day, once I hit that $1,000, I just didn't give a crap what the market did after that point.
There's so many people asking for advice, asking for you guys to teach them the strategy and the way to go. And the strategy can be taught, but that kind of stuff, you can tell them, but they're not going to listen anyways. I think the only way to really learn that is by losing just a shit ton of money.
Losing is part of the game. If you have the data to back your decisions, you also know roughly how many losses you can take before the win is right around the corner. And that's something that you just need to manage with your community, I think.
The more you're in the market, the more you're going to lose. Right? The market is always right. You're not always right. The market is. Industry's tough. You're going to lose money. You have to lose money, in fact, to make it in this industry. Because if you don't, you won't respect it. And as quick as it comes, it will go just as quick.
Welcome to the 5th episode of the Traders Roundtable podcast. I think today we have one of the most amazing roundtables we've had so far. I see the guys already laughing because there was happening something behind the scenes that was pretty interesting. But without further ado, guys, I think we have today a roundtable filled with the 3 different type of traders, one of the most interested and talented traders from the space. So on the left side, without further ado, let me introduce the guests. We have Jip, founder of Prep Capital, crypto trader. Max, also a well-known guest on the podcast, already been here for 2 episodes, last 2 episodes.
Yep.
Forex trader, so welcome, Max.
Thank you.
And then we have our special guest, trader Kane. I think currently the biggest trader in the space, especially looking at your recent record payout. I think it's currently the record payout within the prop firm history. So Kane, can you introduce yourself a little bit? And especially the story behind that incredible payout.
Yeah, thank you. So Trader Kane, has been close to a decade in the markets now. My journey goes crypto, FX, and then kind of back to FX, crypto, then back to FX, and then recently about 2 years ago now moved to futures, and then kind of ran up some pretty big numbers, including the largest payout in retail prop history. I use the term retail because I get a lot of hate for saying prop because there obviously are some large.
How much was it? Tell him.
Single payout, 1.86 million. Before the profit split, it was closer to 2.1. And then with the firm, with Apex themselves, it was 2.3. And then overall, probably in the last 2 years on the future side of things, coming in on 3 mil now.
So what about you switch from Forex to futures?
I had a really bad October, November in Forex. EU just kind of...
Last year?
Year before, last year and the year before. Okay. Just that period where I was just like, can't do this. And then I kind of met my business partner at the time and he was a futures trader. And I was just like, this is just suiting my style. And it just was like, screw ranging markets in Forex. I'm just going to go to the explosive moves in indices. And then kind of the more attractive thing about it was the scalability from a futures perspective. The prop firms there kind of just allowed me to scale to silly numbers and then take that to some record-breaking payouts.
Crazy, man. Well done. I think, when did it happen? Actually, 2 months ago, 3 months ago?
Coming up 3 months ago now, yeah.
Crazy.
Have things settled down a little bit?
Yeah, it's starting to settle down. I mean, my socials blew up. My community blew up. Like,
crazy.
My DMs blew up and it was just a bit unmanageable. Yeah. Took a little break, went to Dubai.
Yeah.
And then just been traveling, meeting other people, networking, doing all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I mean, we're approaching the festive period now. So it's just nice just to settle in, do this, go on a holiday, go home, spend it with some family and enjoy it.
But can you tell me, because you mentioned that last 2 years, you had a very bad month of October and November in Forex.
Yeah.
How does it happen? Because you didn't have that, you didn't experience that, right?
I mean, I experienced the range, and it kind of goes both ways. Let's say if you're more used to, let's say you want those aggressive moves, you're going to miss them out in October, November. And people with lesser experience, let's say people that just step into Forex, will want to trade that range. And yeah, you were just super smart to just avoid the range and go to a market that had volatility. And I just sat on my hands. But you'll see many people try to force trades during that period of time. And I think that's where they go wrong because the volume just isn't there.
But for the listeners, why is it especially in these 2 months?
To be honest, I don't really know the answer to that. I just found that my model played out for most of the year. And then October, November, every year, the volatility just kind of dried up. And then we just got more like inside days. So like I always trade from extreme to extreme. So although like Euro might be trending down, it will trade from high to low, high to low, high to low, and will just range within the day. Where I'd find that EU would just typically expand and not retrace. And that for me is just bad. So like I felt like I would get quite a bit of FOMO at the time and I would just get into really bad trades. And honestly, it even got to a point where I was just like going against my bias, just to be like, I'm wrong so much here. Like, let me go against my bias. And then the market would just do what I wanted it to do. And I just feel like I'm being personally attacked, you know, which is obviously bollocks. But no, I just couldn't. I just had no edge in those time periods. And at the time, it wasn't really doing anything. So it was like, step away, don't do anything for 2 months, or just switch to futures. And it just took I'm just going to full scale switch to futures, took a little break, started futures in middle of November. And even from November to January, where I would have made no money, I made, heavy 5 figures in that time.
So you basically recognize that futures fits your characteristic better than Forex trading. And what's the reason that you switched to futures and not to crypto? Because basically crypto is quite similar, also very explosive and all that kind of stuff. That is also what I really like about crypto compared to Forex. I've been trading some Forex every now and then as well. What was the reason for you switching to futures instead of crypto?
There wasn't 2 things. I lost a lot of money in crypto.
That I remember.
And I didn't really, it kind of PTSD of me was like refusing to give money back to the market there.
Right.
And also there just weren't many crypto prop firms at the time. And I just wasn't really willing to give the market back my actual money, because I'd really worked hard to recover quite a lot of my losses from the FTX saga. So that, but also the stock market is made to go up, right? So every day I can approach the chart with a bias of, well, if the market is going to do what it needs to do, we are most likely going to go up. There are obviously corrections in that market, which is where most of my edge comes in. But overall, you can approach the market from a futures perspective and a stock market perspective with a bullish bias.
That's sick.
So
that is very.
It just almost like cuts some of my thinking in half. So I can just be like, this is made to go up. Okay, why would we go down? Thinking of logical extremes to highs to lows. If we're trending up, okay, where do I want to get long from? The lows of the market.
And let's say markets does start ranging at some point, or maybe even enter a bear cycle.
Yeah.
Would you say that your system would still suit the futures market well, or?
Yeah, because NQ trades to extremes.
Okay.
So like typically if we get a reversal, we're always reversing from previous day high or low.
Okay.
So like they're my main interest levels. Yeah. And NQ moves so much that it will always, if we get an inside day, it's rare. And if we're inside day, it's ranging. And once I identify the range, I just throw everything else out the window and trade the range.
Right.
But when you listen to it, it seems, and it hears like, if it's so simple. So how is it that you got that record payout and not someone else?
I think it's a mixture of things. I would say that I had a plan, right? Loading those Apex accounts up, I had a plan, and my plan was just to get base hits every day on 20 accounts, make $500 to $1,000 an account, which in futures sounds easy, but it just, I like the saying, scared money don't make money, but I had the plan, stuck to it. And ultimately I was just like every day, once I hit that $1,000, I just didn't give a crap what the market did after that point. But I could get that trade during London, and then I have 8 hours of my day to go do whatever I want with, and I just would not come back to the chart. I might come back and look at it for if someone asks me what my view on the market is, but I'm logged out of all of my trading. You couldn't pay me to take a trade. Like the only thing I would do is log in at the end of the day to make sure that I haven't messed up and left a limit in somewhere from like a stop or something like that. And then most of the time I just set alerts. So, but yeah, it was just having that mental capacity to be like, this is what I'm here to do. I'm here to make money. Once I make the money, the markets, I'm not interested. Where I think a lot of people are like, if you take the scalability out of it and put it down to one account, making that sort of money on one account would be impossible, right? Just impossible, because you would most likely blow the account at some point, unless you've been in the market a hell of a long time. But it's time in the market and understanding that the more you're in the market, the more you're going to lose. Right? The market is always right. You're not always right. The market is. And then understanding when to step away and when your model is not presenting, and taking that out, just stepping away and just taking that out of the question. So for me, it was just having the set rules every day of, if my model presents between this time and this time, I'll take the trade. once I make the money, I'm out. If I lose the money, we'll come back at New York. If we get it, we get it. There were losing days in that time, right? Like, don't get it twisted. Like, there were days I had some decent losses in there, including, I will openly admit, some gambles once the accounts were like set to be frozen, because I just wanted to make as much money as possible, and that was it, right? But actually just going every day into the market, understanding this is the model I want to trade. I'm not going to deviate from that. I'm trading between these time periods, and if I don't get it, tomorrow's a new day.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So basically, from what I understand is, it all comes down to a plan, and basically get your psychology intact and don't overtrade, which is like the most important thing.
Yeah.
What I heard from your story. And it's pretty funny because we also talked about it a lot, Max, in the last 2 episodes, especially about trading psychology, because you are exactly the same in the game, but then in the Forex market, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it kind of resonates with what Kane said when you were trading FX as well, and we were on streams here and there together. You had a very disciplined approach as to with your group, and in whatever chat we were in. If it just doesn't present itself, you check the next session. If not, just done for the day, close your screens and come back next time. Many people, they'll try to force a trade in the session again, or they'll force, let's say, a B plus setup where they're too married to the bias they set out at the beginning of the day. Whereas what Kane did was really well. Actually, it kind of took that from him as well, just being able to close your charts if your stuff isn't there.
I think that's the hardest part for most traders. I think every donkey at some point can get to like a profitable trading system.
Sure.
But recognizing when your system is providing a trigger and when it isn't, that's even the part that everyone can do. But sticking to that and then not forcing setups, bro, I think everyone needs to learn it the hard way as well. I think you can...
How do you learn it the hard way?
By losing a shit ton of money.
By losing,
honestly, I believe it's the only way. There's so many people probably coming to you guys as well, asking for advice, asking for you guys to teach them the strategy and the way to go. And the strategy can be taught, but that kind of stuff, you can tell them, but they're not going to listen anyways. There are going to be times where they're still going to enter the market, even though it's a B plus setup, even though it's a C setup, whatever. And I think the only way to really learn that is by losing just a shit ton of money. But when you're sitting with experienced traders, now we understand each other, but there's
we make it sound easy, but
really it sounds so easy. But it is truly, even I still struggle with it sometimes.
Yeah.
You're sitting behind your desk, you just want to feel something.
You're bored.
Fucking bored as fuck. And I think that's also where, for example, Max is like teaching people one-on-one. We both have a community. I make a bunch of content. You do as well. Max does as well. I think that for me at least, it really helps to have something next to trading and basically kind of do trading on the side. Because when you know your system, you only need like 10, 15 minutes a day behind the chart. And you already know what's going on. And if you have a bunch of spare time, it's going to be so like...
torturing.
Yeah, it is torturing, honestly. It is.
But is it something from this generation? Because look, in the past, you also had traders who were basically behind the screens, and there weren't like any social media channels. And
but they were on the floor screaming at each other and just...
goats.
Buying every dip.
Truly. It was a different world, I believe. And now we have so much... I don't know, distractions and that.
But is it because of that? Is it because of that you continuously need to feel something?
100%.
Do you know what I think it is? I think it's so easy to make money online, so that it's just, if someone, like, I opened Twitter yesterday, like, I don't know about you guys, but everyone seems to be making millions on meme coins right now.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
like, everyone seems to be making millions on meme coins. So it's just like, I'm sitting there looking at all these guys trading meme coins. I know I would lose money. Right? I'm just not an idiot. Like, I've lost money doing that shit. But like, am I tempted to just load up a couple of $1,000s in Solana and just chuck that shit into random projects? Yeah, but it's just like...
I've done it.
I lost it. Yeah, exactly. And that's it's just like...
It was fun though, because it went up first, like FedEx, and then I lost it all.
You feel that,
it was fun.
And then I just... and then I just sit there and I'm just like... I can actually just see why people see this, and then they're like, well, if I just sit and look at the charts all day... But I just see a direct correlation. The more I look at charts, the more I lose. Like... When I trade close to the session close, or say I'm in a trade that I've got into in the morning, I've just held it and we're just not we're not expanding. The moment it gets past like 2:00 EST time, I know that trade's dead. And any trade that I've ever got into past 2:00 has always been a loss. Like facts, always been a loss. We just don't expand. We consolidate. Price just sticks around my entry, maybe wicks my stop loss, and then just goes back to my entry. I just don't do it anymore. I'm just like... That hour of those hours of the day are just dead to me.
I have it with the first and last day of the month. Same. If I enter a trade on the first day of the month or the last one, for some reason, it always hits stop. even if it's an A+ setup.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work for me.
But
Now-
understanding the data and accepting the data that some days you're just not need to go in the market.
Yeah, I think it also comes down to journaling a bit and
Journaling, super important. Like I think that's where you see, especially with FX, right? You realize that Monday, Friday, a little bit tough.
So bad.
I mean, yeah. Look, I'm glad that you said it, but Monday, London, dude.
London.
London session, dude.
It is
Mundane. That's why.
Dude.
Max, look, you can journal like hell, but you see also the payout of nearly 2 million.
Yeah.
But you don't decide to go into futures, and I know that people saw that payout and immediately bought a futures account, but you didn't decide it.
No.
Why?
I think for me it was the technicalities. Different rules, different parameters. I personally, of course, you see it, and then you know, it's talk of the town. Everyone's going to futures. I just didn't do my own research enough to really understand how it all worked out in terms of the rules of what these firms are doing, how to load them up. And at the same time, I had experience with, let's say, future side of FX, you know, trading 6E, a little bit on DMA. And I was like, you know, that tickles the itch for me enough to kind of be part of the whole space, but not the whole FOMO that you see across the proprietary retail aspect in that sense, without, you know, hurting anyone's feelings. It was a lot going on. I just didn't understand it. I accepted my lack of knowledge and just...
Justin, he loaded up on 20 accounts at Apex and he blew them all in one trade because he didn't know the rules.
Intraday trade.
Yeah.
But that's just,
I wish he was here. He's on Bali right now.
but the thing is, that's
blew up
just so
20
normal.
accounts.
Like I had, so I bought 20 Apex
Like
accounts,
that.
right? But before that, I bought 10, right? I just bought 10 50Ks. Like they had a sale on, was like, I'll grab 10, whatever.
Yeah.
I passed them in one trade. Openly admit, just one trade, right? Just went balls to the walls, like whatever. But it happened so fast. I was like, cool. Just didn't even know about the intraday trading drawdown. I took like 2 trades like the next day. I was up on one. And then I was like, okay, I have a bit more to play with. I'll risk a bit more. Boom. I'm like, my balance is up. Why are my accounts frozen? Like, what's going on here? Like, intraday trading drawdown hit. Account's gone. I'm like,
What?
Oh, what is this? Just didn't read the rules. And I think that a lot of people don't do that. They don't read the rules. And I think making the switch, to answer your question, right? Like, because I also made the switch, I just baptism by fire, which is like, I'm doing this. Like, I don't want to load up a live account just yet. I want to just trade here. The cost of entry is so low. So I was just like, I need to figure this out. How do I do it? You know, I trade on a Mac. Like this, to trade on futures, it's built, or an iPad. It's built to trade on Windows. Like NinjaTrader is like the biggest like platform. It's all built for Windows. So I was like, how do I even do this? And then I had to like look into parallels. And then I was like, what, Tradeovate? What's Tradeovate? Like, how do I even use this? I'm so used to just trading on MetaTrader. Like, how do I even just use this stuff? So it's just baptism by fire. But like once I got into it and I like started like just tinkering with it, it just all made so much sense. It's pretty easy to pick up. But I think that making the switch from CFDs to futures is initially tough. But once you get over like I guess let's call it a linguistic barrier, like just translating. Once you do that, it's just the same. You're just trading a chart. It's just how you get in and how you close and how things scale. The rules of individual prop firms is the same, right? So like when you look at CFDs, you have the one-step program, or I don't even know if they exist anymore. Some one-step programs, some two-step. Most one-step programs had intraday trading drawdown, right? Because it was just like a quick way to get payouts. So the way I always explain it to people is, imagine you just have a one-step program from CFD, but futures, and you're not trading lots, you're trading contracts. That's it.
But would you ever consider go back to CFDs?
No.
No? Is it because of the payout or just because your system fits the futures?
I just hate range-bound markets. Like as much as they're profitable for me, my model doesn't work in them. So like, once I identify a range on NQ, I just don't trade my model anymore. I just trade the range. I just wait for a breakdown, stop above the range. If we get deviation, I'll look. And if it's not deviation and breakout, great. We just switch back to my model. So, and I think that historically, and maybe, you know, everyone has a different opinion, but I think Forex markets are just made to range. Like that's the whole point of them. If one currency is too strong, like let's just look at UJ.
It is kind of true.
It's just like, that's just such an anomaly. That's just like going short on UJ is just suicide, right? Like at some point, okay, you might get a random Bank of Japan, you know, buyback or an interest rate talk, but like most of the time it's just getting killed by inflation. So when you trade the most fluid pairs like EU, they are made to range. Like if they one side was just to go up, one economy is just getting pounded. So like You know, for me, it was just like identifying that and understanding that, and then applying that to equities. This stuff's made to go up. So like, it's the range bound markets is just like, we stay in a range on NQ for too long. Someone somewhere is doing something wrong because some companies aren't performing as well. Because so then we're gonna break out eventually. Where EU's been in a range like when you go on the high time frame for like what 2 years?
Don't tell me about it.
You know what I mean? Like it's been in a range for 2 years, and the thing is, you get the midpoint of the range, so you trade the range, but the range is so bloody big, you can just be in a trade for weeks, and it's like, how do you size for that? That doesn't suit my style. And then these intraday moves, you're like range within a range, and I'm just like, you know what? Screw this.
Yeah,
makes sense.
And I also think that just equities in general, with like the CME regulation and everything going via CME, it just really takes down the level of manipulation that a lot of like retail brokers outside of props, retail brokers apply to the markets. Unless you're trading, you know, with some of the larger firms, trading with like some of the less regulated firms, it's just risky. You make too much money with them, they're probably not going to pay you.
Yep.
And if you make too much money with a bigger firm, they're just going to be on your ass about stuff. So where with CME, it's just like NinjaTrader as a broker, they don't care about what happens because everything is provided from CME data. So CME provide the spread, the margin requirements, everything's standardized. And I'm just like, there's no room for manipulation here. I can't blame my broker because something happened. I hated getting wicked out of trades on EU. Like, I just absolutely hated it. Like, spread just suddenly spiked and I'm out of my trade. And I'm just like, this doesn't make sense. We have this spread all day. And then that moment that I wicked out of my trade, it's 5 times the size. And I'm just like, you almost have to like factor that into your model. And it's just minus EV for me in the long run.
Yeah.
Makes definitely sense indeed. And yep, I think when you heard this, like, of course, the future market is definitely more regulated in that sense. But when you compare it to crypto market, it's pretty much still lots of it like unregulated. If you hear the story of Kane, why do you still trade crypto in that way?
To be fair, it also comes down a bit to what Max was saying, like the technicalities. Like I can't be asked to I don't know, get into futures trading and really get into detail into it. And I've done Forex in the past, and as you said, it's really range bound, so that like fits my style pretty well. Yeah. And then I don't know, I just can't be asked to be fair. Like it works fine for me on crypto, so why would I make the switch? Maybe if we enter another bear cycle and volume's gonna dry up like crazy, and then I'm witnessing NQ still getting crazy volatility every single day, then I might dive into it. That's also how I made the switch a little bit to Forex after the FTX crash. The volume was just not there on crypto. There were no setups, nothing. So I just had to sit on my hands, and then I got very bored, and then I was just entering stupid trades. And then some people told me like, have a look at Forex.
Yep.
And that worked pretty well at that time. But then volatility came back to crypto, and then crypto for me is just working so well. But yeah, maybe next time when volatility dries up again, I'm making the switch to futures. But then probably first go back to Forex.
A little bit of
if that doesn't work well and is still range bound, then I might ask Kane to give me some guidance. But for now, I don't know.
We talked about it, right? We talked about it because we talked about the payout, of course, also of Kane. And we talked about Justin indeed. But you also mentioned that it triggered you a little bit to look into it because, of course, it's like a huge amount of money. It's the biggest payout ever.
I was speaking to it about it to Justin, and then he told me like, I'm gonna load up on 20 accounts and I'll tell you how it goes. And the next day he texted me again with a screenshot of the emails that he got, that he blew him up. And I was like, what happened? He said like, I don't know. And then I was like, okay, I can't be asked blowing up 20 accounts or just getting into this stuff in general. But yeah, I don't know, maybe next time there is going to be another bear cycle for crypto, and I do think this time it's going to be a long one, like 3-4 years. That's my guess. I don't know, I might be wrong, but that's just my bet. So yeah, 3-4 years without volatility, it's enough time to dive into futures and Forex a bit more. But then, like I said, I'll probably go into Forex first and then
doesn't it all come down to confidence? We talked about it as well in the last episode. Look, if you're very confident in your system, your capabilities in the market, and you are in it in Forex, you are like confident in your capabilities in crypto, you don't have to change because you know you can make money in the market. People that do change, that change a lot and basically change a lot from markets, from strategies, are basically not confident enough, right?
I've seen so many people on Twitter lately that are trading crypto switching to Wyckoff all of a sudden. But they have like 10, 20k followers, and all of a sudden they're switching to Wyckoff. And then they're switching the entire system. And I'm like, if you're profitable and it works well for you, how the fuck are you switching? And for me, it's the same with markets as well. Like Kane was saying, Forex didn't suit his style anymore. So he was like trying to find an alternative, right? Same, like Forex works fine for Max. Crypto works fine for me. And then once I recognize that crypto is not working well for me anymore, then I might take a leap of faith and try to switch. But for now, it works fine. So if you're making money, why would you want to switch? Even though
Definitely.
I don't know, it sounds very appealing, like a 2 million payout, but yeah, we just got to work a tiny bit harder to get there, probably.
The only reason I switched from FX to futures was because like it decimated me, man.
Yeah.
Like it fully just ruined, like 2 months of just like nothing but losing.
Yeah.
Depressing.
Like it was depressing,
bro.
Like legit. I was just like, has my whole life been a lie?
Yeah.
Like legit. I was like
9 years into the market.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was like, I've made money consistently and now I'm just losing money consistently.
Yeah.
Like has the algorithm changed?
Yeah.
Like all this crazy stuff at the time because I was just like
You're becoming delusional.
decimated.
Yeah.
So like I was just like, okay, I have to change.
Yeah.
This.
How do you go through
I can't
that
do
period?
this.
Because that must be a period where you adopted yourself, not only yourself, but like everything. How you went through that period in terms of like your psychology? How do you still
If you thought about
got
quitting.
through it?
Oh, I've thought about quitting more times than probably anyone.
Yeah.
Like I lost close to $1 million in crypto. Like I'm just like I said, I could just
Due to the FTX.
I could just suddenly go like
wiped.
my life. I could just go back to living my life how it was without the money. Nothing's changed for me because I didn't cash a lot of it out. Okay, I bought a bunch of stuff. And, you know, I went on some nice holidays, did all this stuff, but like, didn't really change my life. I didn't buy a house, didn't drive a flashy car at the time. Like, you know, nothing like that. So it was just like, am I gonna get back into the market and give more money? Like there were dark days after I lost that money. You know? Like, and I've said this in public and you know to a lot of people. Like, I'm really thankful that, and this is going to sound really fucked up, but like my brother-in-law got diagnosed with cancer and my brother had a serious motorbike accident, and if that didn't happen, I would have just been focused on the money. But like those two things like happened in my life at the time when I lost a significant amount of money, and I was just like, money doesn't matter. Like health and just 100%. Family is just like so important. And that just kind of got me through it, to be honest. And if that didn't happen, I don't know, I probably would have quit, honestly, because like getting back in the market with no money, like my whole mindset just changed from how do I make money to just how do I just provide for my family. And it was just like doubling down on my job at the time. I worked in sales, so just the ability to just ramp that up and earn a bunch of money. It was kind of a bit of a blessing. So just really doubled down on that for like 3-4 months. Some monstrous deals came in. I made a lot of money, then just leveraged that in the market and just made quite a lot of it back. But yeah, there were dark days, and I just had to remind myself, like in going to look through my journals when I had bad days, like bad days followed by good days, right? So it's just like a bad period, it's going to be followed by a good period, and that was kind of the mindset that I had to have with it.
Did you journal every day?
At the time, like I have 2 kind of journal routines, right? I journal trading, and then I just journal my life. My life journal is more like, at the time it was more weekly, it's now more like monthly. And trading was more like I journaled every trade. Now I just kind of journal the bad ones. And then, at the time though, I was journaling every trade because it was just like the only way to keep me accountable to the market. And also for a long period, and why I got into journaling my trades was because I had FOMO getting back in the market after I got stopped. And if I had to journal a trade and I journal correctly, by the time I had the FOMO, the market's just gone. Just like my ideas completely invalidated.
And your emotions settle down a little bit as well.
Like,
just give yourself some time.
You know, go on a break, go for a walk, write the journal, come back, make a coffee, come back to the market. If it's still there, you know, whatever, we roll the dice. If not, you can understand your edge is no longer there. And at that point, you're like, I wanted to get long here. Prices are like 200 points lower, pips, whatever. Do I really want to get long here? This looks like it's just about to die. Like, okay, no, I don't. So it just helped me like in all aspects, really. So yeah, journaling is it's a big one for me. But journaling, I hate when everyone's like, journal like this, journal like that. Hey, it's different for everyone at the end of the day. Like,
definitely, that's it. Because we also talked about it a lot, like the fact of journaling. Every good trader and every like experienced trader is journaling, and every trader has its own type of journaling, whether it's on every single trade, whether it's on every single day or whatsoever. But the most important is that you keep yourself accountable on that, definitely. And look, because you basically went from like 0 to 100 very, very quick.
Yeah.
So how, in terms of confidence, because I assume that you also sometimes get a little bit too overconfident if you hit these big numbers.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
Again, good period, bad period. You know, like I'd take no shame in admitting like I had my first like bad week last week, like in like probably like 6 months on NQ. But like okay, I was still up for the month, still up for the previous month, whatever. But like having 3 losing trades in my model, pretty much back to back, it's not great for like my self-esteem, my confidence in the model. But like I just went back and just back tested a bunch like over the weekend, did it with my community, did it myself, just went back and back tested and just reinforced like, okay, and I always say this, my model throughout the year, the most losses it ever had in one go was 6. After that, it went on like a 40 trade tear. So like, okay, would I take 6 losers for 40 winners every day? It's great RR. Like I would just do that. And I just remind myself that, okay, if I lose in the market, I'm just closer to a winner next time. And if I go on the losing streak, great. We just get it out of the way. We can just
Part of the game, man.
Part of the game, yeah.
As long as you know that you're profitable over the course of a year, 3 months, 6 months, there's no reason to lose any confidence.
No.
Obviously, sometimes when you go on the losing streak, it's still fucked up.
Yeah.
You know that your system is going to be profitable over a long period of time. So there's nothing, in my opinion, to worry about. The people that never journaled or don't know from themselves that they're really, truly profitable for a long period of time, those are probably the people that stress out once they lose a couple of trades in a row. But it is part of the game.
Yeah.
It's going to happen to everyone.
Yep.
And like you said, 6 losers, 40 winners, RR is fucking great. So.
Yeah.
Sick.
Take it.
But you both, actually all of you are having also your own community. So if you make a losing trade, it's like basically public.
That's my journal as well, man. My community and YouTube are my journal these days for trading. And then I journal my life in like just a little notebook. That's my journal, man.
But do you also sometimes get like negative comments if you're on a losing streak for a couple, maybe a couple days, couple trades, you get negative?
It's always from the newer members, man. The people that have been for a longer period of time, they always support me. And then the people that just joined because you were on a winning streak, they see it on Twitter, they see it on YouTube, they join, and I'm like, I'm going all in on the next trade, and then they take a loss and then they blame you, and then they're there for a longer period of time, or they leave after a month, and I'm like, okay, go ahead. I don't need your money. And then if they're there for a longer period of time, they never moan, man. Always the newer members, the newer followers.
Yeah.
And that's all fine. At the beginning, I was struggling with that badly, man.
When did it change?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. It's just you get thicker skin over a longer period of time. And at some point, you just realize, like, I'm not trading for them. I'm trading for myself. And I'm trying to teach them something. And I'm trying to help them make money. And I know, like I said, that over a long period of time, I am going to help them make money. And I am going to teach them how to trade if they stick around long enough. And to be fair, the people that moan after one bad trade or after one bad month, it can even happen, or a bad week. I don't even want them in my community, to be fair. Like they can just go and find a different community where people just win all the time. I don't know where they're going to find it.
Find the golden goose.
Yeah.
But how do you do with that, Max?
Negative comments, I think it's just managing expectations. That's one thing, right? If you're constantly on Twitter and you're saying that you're inhuman, that you're a god amongst men, you put yourself on such a pedestal, right? But I think just being transparent with and your community and just the general public, super important. Like I do that with my students. I don't boast my win streaks. And I don't really, showcase, how big the win streak is or how many they are, but overall generalized, like, hey, losing is part of the game. Just like what Kane said, if you have the data to back your decisions, you also know roughly how many losses you can take before the win is right around the corner. And that's something that you just need to manage with your community, I think. If they come in and they expect it's rainbow and sunshine the whole time, it's a hard reality.
Yeah,
for them.
But you also you have to push your own boundaries, right? Because you grow, and especially you recently, you got a lot of new community members, especially after, of course, your record payout. So more community members means also like more negative feedback, but also more positive feedback. So I think there's like a limit in terms of how resilient you can be to your outer world, right?
Yeah, I think like in the nicest way, and this is not like a ego comment, but like these guys are coming to me for help. Like taking criticism off them is like really silly of me. Like, and that sounds really egotistical, but like,
no, but it's true.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue with my golf coach about my golf swing. Like, this guy's a much better golfer than me. I might say it doesn't feel great, but like, he's going to tell me, well, that's how you do it. Like, and I always just use golf analogies because it's just like one of the things that I play and actually get taught. But it just wouldn't make sense for me to argue with him. So when like people come in and they're like, you know, we did it on a stream the other day. Like I did a YouTube stream for the first time. And one guy was like, it's going here. And I was like, I bet you $100. Whatever, I don't care. We sat in that trade for like 3 hours. I actually just closed the trade at one point because I was just like, I don't care about it. Bro, like I was in a coffee shop that get a DM, send me your PayPal because I bet him money. Like, and I was just like, keep the money, bro. Just don't do this again. Like, because ultimately I get so many comments, and it's a joke in my community about protected highs, protected lows. We always go there. We just happen to go there once someone says that, and I just take it with a pinch of salt. Okay, fine. If it's consistent and like you alluded to, I had like 2 bad weeks. Like one was break even, one was like 12K loss or whatever. But like people that join in those 2 weeks, like most of them have now cancelled their membership. Most of them have given me like horrible comments, bad reviews, like whatever. And I'm just like, okay, cool. But if I go over the past 3 months,
exactly,
I'm up multiple doctors' salaries. You know? So like, I'm just chilling. Yeah, and then more. Like, and I'm just like,
decades.
So it's just like I just don't actually care. And that's the thing is like people come into the money into the market to make money. If you're making money in the market, like great. Don't look for someone else's opinion. If you're not, fine, go seek it out, get mentorships, join a community, do whatever. But like, if you're going to come into the community and then just hate on the person teaching on you and not have the open mind to be like, how did this person do this? And have that closed mind,
0 sense.
You're just going to stay where you are. And that's just the harsh reality of that. And if that's what you want to do, who am I to waste my time to argue with you about that? If you think that I don't make money because I had a bad 2 weeks, good for you. Like, I'm not going to spend my time doing that. I'm going to go do shit that I enjoy.
Definitely. But does it change if it's coming from someone you look up to? Because you got a lot of traction on Twitter recently, and also from people calling you whatever. So does it change from someone that?
No, not really. I mean, I think most of the people that like are in this space a long time just know that like you make a dig at someone else for something. Hey, when that person has their time in the sun and you're in the shade, you better bite as loud as you bark, like, because trust me, they're going to come back at you at some point. And I think I actually had this conversation with somebody the other day. If I am as good as a trader as I say I am, why do I care what anyone else thinks? Like, straight up. Okay, you might have an opinion on me, but I can back up what I say. So like, if you can back up what you say, then let's go at it. But like, who gives a crap? Like, I'm never going to argue with Yip about his crypto profits. I'm never going to argue with Max about his Forex profits. Because like, if someone comes to me and goes, you didn't get paid what you got paid from Apex, let's jump on a call. I'll show you my bank statement. I'll log in. I'll share my screen. Like, and I've done that with several people. Like, and you know, when I posted the payout, the first thing I posted was a screenshot of my bank, like on my iPhone.
Still, so many people were like,
I remember people
you sent me
X-rayed the payout. Like, this is photoshopped. Like,
it all comes down to jealousy.
Let me spend my Photoshop money in peace.
Dude, please.
It is, but look, there's always coming criticism from every corner, especially when you're like
doing well,
flying a little bit higher than the rest of the traders. But do you use, for example, make like certain like tactics or things to minimize these? To
minimize?
Basically, minimize your emotional involvement
with critique. Let's say. I think like, you know, understanding where you're coming from and knowing that you're clearly at a place where you've got people looking up at you, they're looking up at you for a reason is super important, kind of keeps you grounded as well. And understanding that, you know, there's always going to be a guy on Twitter that's going to, you know, write negative comments because that's what they do. There's always going to be someone that thinks critically of you. And it's kind of up to you how you let that ruin your day. If you let that ruin your day. But yeah, don't feed the attention of these people. That's, I think, the most important aspect. And like what you said, if you know you can back up your stuff, you know, okay, great. If you really want to go about it, slide in the DM, send a message. We can go over stuff.
It's difficult though, because you're saying like don't feed them, but on the other hand, like if you are showing bank statements, you're still kind of feeding them, but you're also proving that it's true. So like, to be fair, I wouldn't know what I would do in your situation. I probably would just not respond, but then on the other hand, people are going to take that
urge to respond.
You don't respond. It's almost like you accept that. Like, you're like, okay, is there some truth to this because he didn't respond? And I'm just like, okay. And I put myself in the shoes of other people, which is why I posted the next thing. And
sure.
Like, I've often said, if I saw someone else get a $2 million payout, I'd be like, it's bullshit. Yeah, whatever.
Sure.
Don't believe him. Like, where's the bank statement? Where's the broker statement? Where's all this? So I just put myself in that position straight away. Like, how can I go out there and shout about this accolade? Because I'm proud of it, right?
Of course.
But also like to the point that like I can prove that to people, because unless people, even the screenshot could be photoshopped for whatever reason. Let's just argue that it is. Okay, meet up with me in person. I'll show you. I'll log into my bank. I'll show you it. Like, I can do that to people, but like, I can't live my life doing that. So also at the same time, like, I just accept, like, if you're not going to believe it and I can just go out of my way, that should be a sufficient proof. And if it's not, great, like, cool. But feeding into people, sometimes I fall victim to it. Like, I do. Like, I just reply to people, like, sometimes trolling, sometimes not. Sometimes I'm like, how dumb is this? I don't want people to believe this, so I'm responding to it. Then it just goes into this like rant of stuff where it gets to the point where I'm just like, I've got better stuff to do. Why did I even do this in the first place? So
you always have regret.
I have regret every time.
The moment they get your attention, that's kind of it. Like, Twitter's a great space. In my free time, we've both been there, just kind of commenting on Randy stuff. And then like you're gonna get hooked on someone that makes a comment, and you have like this 13 tweet thread, and you're like, okay, well, what was the point of that? You just called each other and everyone's ancestors' names, and you're like, okay, well, on to the next. And that's it.
But you have to go through something to overcome that, because you have to eventually be so confident with yourself that you don't feel the urge to respond, because you still respond and you still take a look at it, right?
Yeah. Of course, I think that's just social media, right? If it wasn't there, it'd be a lot better for everyone, because you can compare yourself with everyone.
It also motivates.
Like for motivational purposes, you want to use it correctly. But you've also just got people that are doing abrupt stuff, and you're just like, okay, well,
you just need to find the right balance, right?
That's it. Yeah. 100%.
Also in between trolling and not responding.
100%.
Finding the right balance with those kind of things, I think it's the most important.
Do you, for example, still see yourself like comparing with other people still? If you see a payout of 2 mil, do you compare yourself with that? And sometimes you get a little bit like trapped in the social media loophole.
Like, yes, of course. I would say for myself that I'm doing pretty well, but then seeing like the numbers that Kane is doing, then I'm like, okay, I need to do even better. But I don't really compare it. Actually, just motivates me to work even harder, and I know that at some point I'm gonna get there as well. And like I said, I am doing very well for myself, so I don't mind. Like, I only thoroughly fucking enjoy it, man. Seeing this, it's crazy.
It is. Definitely, indeed.
I think the most important thing, like, for a lot of people is like, I've been doing this close to 10 years now. I'm not.
People don't know.
I'm not like a 23, 24-year-old girl. I'm 31. Like, I've been doing it a long time, and I'm probably one of the older people in like the retail prop space. When people like compare themselves on their journey to me, I'm like, we're like 6 years apart, bro. Like, where you are right now, I probably wasn't even there. So like, actually, and also in that journey from where you are to where I am now, I lost over $1 million. So like, do you want to be me? Like, do you really want to go through that part? Like, and I often say that to people, like, you're comparing your page 15 in a book.
Exactly.
I'm on page.
What I wanted to say.
I'm on page 300.
Yeah. We were all looking at that analogy. For your page 1 with someone else.
But it is true. It's a cliche, but it is true.
Yeah. And like, people will quite often just be like comparing their lives to mine. Like, not people, but like my friends, because they're my friends, obviously, and they would, like, they wouldn't do that. But like, in my social circle, they're just like, you're killing it, you're doing this. I'm just like, you're 22, bro. Like,
take it easy.
Take it easy on yourself. Like, at 22, I was just partying all the time. Like, I wasn't really even trading. I was just gambling. Like, you're actually out here learning an edge, doing all this other stuff. Like, actually, so like, just keep doing your shit, live life, and just focus and knuckle the grind. When you're 30, you'll be in a better position than me, right? If you keep doing that.
So young, and 10 years is still such a short amount of time, man.
I can remember being 21. Like, I can literally go back to it as like it was yesterday. But like, I just constantly remind people I'm a lot older than the average person in the space, and to do that, to compare like their journey to my journey, it's just inhumane. Like, it's just silly. Like, because I've done a lot more. I've lost a lot more. I've gained a lot more. Like, and also I just always say to people, if we could switch places, would you do it? But okay, they say, yeah, sure. Okay, but would you switch places with me the day I lost $1 million on FTX? No, of course you wouldn't.
No.
So like, that made me who I am, because ultimately, I'm going to be honest, if I didn't lose that money in crypto, I'd probably still be in crypto. And I probably just wouldn't have made that money. Okay, fine. I'd probably made a lot of money on the way up, sold a lot, lost a lot, whatever, but like, that wouldn't have happened. My life would be completely different. So like, that life-changing event for me, which it was life-changing, just altered everything, and probably it's exactly why I'm here today.
Yeah, looking back at those kind of events, you're probably in hindsight always grateful, and at the point,
Best worst thing.
yeah, 100%. I feel you on that.
Definitely, but do you see yourself also like comparing yourself with like people that are even higher than you currently are?
I think naturally, like for me, the comparison that I now make is like to larger, like industry traders, like some of the S&B Capital guys, like Lance trading like 10 mil. Like I just always put myself in a situation like if I'm getting in like $10 million swings, like how would that feel?
Yeah, that's great.
But then also I'm just making a boatload of money intraday trading crumbs, as someone said to me on Twitter yesterday. To the point that I'm just like, would I want to do more? I don't know. I very much enjoy having a healthy social trading life balance. Like I don't think I would trade more. Like everyone's like, what's the next step? Hedge fund? I'm like, sounds like a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to work for someone else. I don't want to have someone else's money and have to report to them. Like if I take a risky trade and I make a large bet in the market, I'm the one that has to look me in the mirror in the morning and be okay with it. I don't want to have to answer to some rich dude in Dubai like why I lost him $1 million. Like
I've been saying this to Max a few times as well. Like I do have respect for the way that you deal with it, because he is trading for a hedge fund. Like I can't be asked as well.
Nah.
How do you deal with that?
Yeah.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, you kind of disassociate the investor for that specific reason, right? You know, investors only get to see the NAV. They only get, you know, the administration reports from, let's say, a mediator.
Yeah.
And that's why you want to avoid direct contact. But I've been in a position where you're like, okay, with a copy fund, which was super shady and everything. And you're like, okay, hey, you have to privately report. You know, you get called up at 3 a.m. like, why is my phone screen red? I'm like, dude, brother, let me sleep for a second, my guy. Come on, man. Cut me some slack, dude. And then, you know, you hit a 2% loss, which is all according to the plan for that month. And it's AWOL. You know, you're getting spammed on your phone. Yeah, no,
that sounds horrible.
That's terrible.
No amount of money, by the way.
Yeah. None of that.
Same.
You couldn't pay, you genuinely could not pay me millions of dollars a year to report to someone. Like I'm being dead ass as well. Like the freedom that I have from just being myself. And even like, okay, there's some accountability to your community members, right? But like, I've said this inside my community, so I could just disappear tomorrow, refund everyone. My life's indifferent, completely indifferent. In fact, it's probably better because I can just do what I want. I don't have random people blowing up my phone, doing this, doing that. Like, I'm okay, fine. The social aspect would probably be worse, but like, I'd actually just be able to live my life and do the things that I want to do, where at the moment there's almost an obligation to turn up in a public domain to say what I want to do. And I've made mistakes like starting a 100K challenge. I'm going to deposit 100K to a live account, ran it up to like 300K. There's no update. There's no more update. Everyone's like, did you blow it? Did you do this? Did you do that? And I'm just like, no, I just get so much fucking hate from it. I just don't want to do it anymore. So now I'm just like in the public domain, purely like making shit posts or trolling or just giving my market view with no, this is how well I'm performing or how bad I'm performing.
That's smart.
Because actually I made the mistake in saying I was on an absolute tear. I now openly admitted like last week that I had a pretty bad week, but like that's the last time you'll hear about how good or bad I'm doing, because I didn't want my Twitter feed to just be good, no bad, because we can all be quite, you know, guilty of just shouting about the times we're doing really well,
of course,
and actually just not shouting about the times we're doing really bad. And like actually the bad tweet got way more like positive comments about me as a person and like being accountable to everyone. But actually my view on that was, okay, that's great, but I'm actually accountable to nobody. I did that purely for like, to remind everyone that it's okay to lose, and also a reminder to myself. But actually I just won't talk about it. I'll only do it inside my community. And again, my community is for education. It's not to copy trade me. And when people come in the 2 weeks that I was on the losing streak, I literally say, you want to copy trade me for 2 weeks and then not do it and we only lose? Fine. Yeah. That's on you. But like over the last 6 months, I'm up good money and I've not changed a thing and I won't change a thing.
Yeah.
Makes definitely sense indeed. But is it like with these kinds of challenges you see on Twitter, like 0 to 100K or whatever challenge? Because you were also recently started the challenge, right?
Yeah.
With a more like humble and realistic aspect.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about that, and can you also like comment to the fact and the basically argument of Kane?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I am doing a public challenge, but then I'm doing the opposite. So I'm saying to everyone, okay, the monthly target is 4%, which is like a decent target for a trader if you're profitable, and then we're doing a monthly deposit of $25 and we're starting with $500, and then I'm saying, watch me run it up to $1 million in the next 4 years. With compound interest, it can happen. Just starting 3-4% a month. Now this month I'm up 9% already, but I'm still trying to manage the expectations and trying to show like the real story behind building a portfolio and building an account. It's not about running up 100K your case, or running up $500 in most cases for most beginning traders to 10,000 in a matter of a month. It's not it can happen.
It's not realistic.
Yeah, once out of every 100 times maybe, but it's not the realistic and authentic way of becoming a profitable trader. I'm just trying to showcase, like, besides obviously running my own portfolio, which I never show to anyone for the reasons we were talking about before the podcast. Trying to show like the real story of trading as well, next to like the prop firm space and leveraging capital, which is all good and that. But I'm trying to show a bit of a different side of trading as well to people. But I hear you completely with the running up accounts and that kind of stuff. Horrible.
Because when you're doing well, everyone's preying on your downfall. And when you're doing bad, everyone like arm around you, your best friend. But you're the same guys, by the way. Same people preying on your downfall. Same people are just preying on your downfall, and then it's all right. You'll be fine in the next week or whatever.
Here's a shoulder to cry.
Haters are your biggest fans. I get it, but like, why don't you just be normal human beings and just be indifferent? Like, support, but like be like, actually you kind of messed up here, and just help hold people accountable, but not be like, you're the worst trader in the world, blah blah blah, and actually you're the best trader in the world. It's just so polarizing. So actually I'm just like, don't really care about either extreme now. I'm just very much in the middle and just posting like neutral comments and just market outlook.
Smart.
That's it.
But do you also consider, like, from that perspective, to completely go out of Twitter and like live your life the way you really want it to be, and not being active on any platform, also not having a community?
I've thought about it several times. Like, I could, like I said, I could disappear tomorrow. My life doesn't really change. And actually, if I didn't have the commitments of social media and my community, it'd probably be better. But also, I just constantly, when people ask me why I do the community stuff and it's purely an educational thing, is like, I was very naive when I got into the industry. And I always just want to be that person that people can look up to, that it's just going to be very harsh, to the point, tell you how it is, no bullshit approach. The industry's tough. You're going to lose money. You have to lose money, in fact, to make it in this industry. Because if you don't, you won't respect it. And as quick as it comes, it will go just as quick. And I'm constantly trying to be that person. And, I'm not saying this in a way that everyone should just DM me, but like, there are several people that have DM'd me. They're in bad spots and I've gone out of my way to help them, because I can remember being that person, doing dumb stuff, over leveraging my money, losing more money than I can afford, like, and getting into that place. And I'm just like, stop where you are. You can do it the correct way, because that can just go down like a massive spiraling route to the point where you are going to quit. And actually you're just going to have a bucket load of debt because people just leverage a bunch of money in this industry. And then your life's basically over. You're now just working a job for the next 20 years to pay back 6 months of your life where you tried to become a millionaire, where actually if you'd just done it right, you could have made a boatload of money in the process. So to answer your question, I have thought about disappearing, but the thing that keeps me here is just like the industry as a whole, I think, needs to have that like voice of reason. I'm not saying I am the person, but I think that my contribution is what keeps me there, to be honest.
Oh, definitely. And I think we all agree on that, because we also talked about it a lot, and we already talked about it a lot, that trading is very hard. And few people succeed out of like all the people that are starting. So it's definitely something very interesting. But also, where I'm pretty curious about is, because I assume that the teaching of your skills and your knowledge to people also gives you a lot of fulfillment.
Yeah.
Does it help you in any sense on your trading style being like more positive instead of negative? What I mean with that is that it's helped you like creating a more positive state of mind, which also affects your trading in a good way?
Yeah, we like did a revamp on some educational stuff recently, and there were some things in there that I was like reteaching that I was just like, wait, I don't even use this anymore. I should probably do this. And it was like daily profiles, weekly profiles, like expecting like daily expansion candles based on previous closes. And I was just like, I don't really do this. And then I met up with T-Trades in Miami the other week, and he's like, it's all I use. And I'm just like, I just actually used to have a lot of emphasis on this, and I kind of just chucked it out the window. So educating actually just helps me brush up on my stuff a lot of the time. Man. I know we said this before, at the start or maybe before, but like teaching people sometimes like the ultra basic stuff, it's like I've forgotten all of that. So when my friends come to me and say, teach me to trade, bro. I'm like, couldn't even tell you. Like, I couldn't even try to explain to you how a candle forms now. Because like, I'd actually have to really think about it. Like, and
like backtrack.
yeah, like for me, like
so
I'm actually probably the worst person explaining that part. But like this part over here, I can explain really well. So
you just want to skip that part and move to the good part. You know?
And I always say to my friends, learn the real basic stuff. And when you understand like basic support and resistance on trading and trend lines, come see me.
Yeah.
Because if you're willing to do that and do that much work, then you're serious about it. I'm not going to waste my time. You're not going to waste your time. A bunch of my friends have done that. A bunch of them haven't. And it's also just like a bit of a litmus test for a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
So again, to answer your question, it's rewarding to teach people, but it also helps me stay accountable to myself and the way that I trade and brush up on the things. Because as much as my model, I can look at the chart and identify my model, I probably skip like I want to see this, I want to see that, I want to see this. I can just see my model and not like decompartmentalize it. And sometimes it's good for me to understand like the decompartmentalizing it, to understand the concepts and the individualities of what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And I only really get that from when I do break it down and teach people. So it is good in that respect, yeah.
So it also helps you, it functions actually as a natural journal that you're basically are keeping.
Yeah.
And you just mentioned exactly the same indeed, that you are basically you feel yourself accountable for your community, that you also have to teach them.
Yeah,
in the sense of like being honest with yourself, but also like in reminding yourself of these tactics.
Yeah, there are so many times in live streams where I feel like I'm charting better during live streams than I do on my own, because you have to go through it step by step by step. And I'm like, probably when I should have done this on my own, I wouldn't have taken this step. And then it maybe just provides me with a trigger, or with a trigger that I shouldn't take the trade. You know what I mean? And it's the same with one-on-ones and that kind of stuff. Yeah, sometimes it's just like you said, brushing up like your knowledge and that kind of stuff. So it definitely helps. Yeah,
definitely. And how do you feel about that?
Same. I mean, not much to add. It kind of solidifies your knowledge. That's kind of what I want to do with the people in my mentorship as well, to give them a role to help out, let's say the newer guys, because then like what you learn in high school, often enough, you do the whole, like you're with buddies learning chemistry together and you got to explain it to your left mate. And by doing that, you hear that internal monologue out loud, and then you realize, oh, does it make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or you go over like your past theories and you realize, oh, I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's like the basics as well.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I don't really use that anymore. Can I change it? Can I adapt it? And then you're just a lot more sharper in your day-to-day antics.
Definitely. Interesting, guys. And it's actually, since we talked about it already at the beginning, that we basically have a crypto trader, futures trader, and the Forex trader on the table. Can you actually also learn something like from each other's like tactics and strategies inside the future market or Forex market? What do you think of that?
I would have, and I think I need to check like the videos and live streams, but I don't. But yeah, that way I can probably learn from the strategies. But like just speaking to them, it's the same with like having different strategies on the same market. It all comes down to the same thing.
Yeah.
And I also speaking to you guys about psychology and strategies and sitting on your hands and criticism and that kind of stuff. It all comes down to the same thing. Even though you're trading futures, you're trading Forex, I'm trading crypto. Like if it works for you, it works for you. But it all comes down to the same thing. Just slight adjustments made for the market that you're trading.
Yep.
But yeah, it was to be expected, to be fair. And it's probably the same with like the strategy itself. It's probably very similar as well.
100%.
Definitely. But Kane is here, of course, for the weekend. And you talk with Kane a lot over the weekend because he's basically in Amsterdam.
I just met him actually.
Yeah?
we're going to spend some time together. Definitely, yeah.
But do you, in the conversations you already have with each other, do you already like...
Bro, I just saw this guy before we entered the podcast. No, I'm not going to say any numbers. But he was on his iPad. He was like, this shit is going to dump. And he was on a 1 minute chart on NQ, right? During the New York Open. And like 5 minutes later, I'm looking back at his iPad and it just fucking tumbled to the ground.
Yeah.
It was fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But I didn't ask, like, he was like drawing out some SMTs and that kind of stuff. But I was like, this is too difficult for now. But yeah, it was crazy.
I think to answer your question, I think everybody has a different trading style, but it's basically trading the same same thing. Like whether it's range bound stuff in FX, whether it's expansions in crypto, and both for me. Like I learned, and I'm happy to admit this, and I'd always say this to Justin, like Justin trades ranges and the deviation stuff, and the way that he breaks down ranges, I'm just like, I can identify a range so quick. Where before I was just like, is this like, what's it doing? Like, and I just really struggled with the range bound stuff because I was always just like, trading expansions from like daily candles, etc., etc. So I think, to answer your question, I definitely can learn stuff. I don't like to learn too much from other people because at the same time, my model is my model. If I start to fuck with it too much, I'm almost doubting it. You know, like we've always said, like you change your model too much, are you really as profitable as you are? And hey, that thing makes me a lot of money, so why fuck with it?
But what's the turning point? Because there need to be like some sort of turning point when you want to basically soak up a lot of like knowledge, inspiration from someone until
that is how we got started probably. Like I soaked up so much information at the beginning from so many different people, and then you just refine it into one strategy. At least that's how it worked for me. And that's why I also hate it when people put a name to a strategy, man, or like brand it, because like you don't have the golden
trademark it.
Really?
We have like a lab model for the
okay.
That's just like
that's like a community kind of thing, you
just
know.
like basically everything.
But it's like a community kind of.
But
it's not like
good.
You're not sitting here and pretending like you have the golden nugget and that everyone should trade your strategy.
What, like CRT?
Like those kind of guys.
CRT.
Oh, it's Kane.
Oh, dude,
it's candle range.
Oh my god, that's where it's at.
It's just range. It's just like trading from daily highs.
Yo, turtle soup, brother.
ICT. Like I fucking hate that, man. TCT? Honestly.
What's that?
We talked about TCT a lot in the last podcast.
Yeah, like he did it as well with Wyckoff and then rebranded to.
You're
TCT.
familiar with Wyckoff?
Yeah.
Stocks.
Yeah.
Now make it make sense by applying it to crypto. TCT, brother.
Is that what it is? Someone's just
like it's fine. Like everyone can like have their own strategy and thus put a brand around. Like I'm totally fine with it, but don't pretend like you have the golden nugget. That's what can really annoy me with some people, because what works well for me, it might not work for you. And at the end of the day, if it does work, it probably does come down to the same thing, man. At the end of the day,
I'll be honest, everything's mental, right?
Yeah,
it is
true, man.
Like I know people that trade more money than we could probably think about. They just trade trend lines.
We talked about it. The last podcast was a guy just trading trend lines, and I know that he has a shit ton of money.
Who?
The trend line guy that was sitting here.
Fleurson.
Right? Yeah, on Twitter his name is Fleurson, but I know that he has a shit ton of money. And he makes a shit ton of money. And he's just like, he can't even explain his strategy. He's like, trend lines, and we were like, okay, but how do you trade those? I just draw them, and then I wait for a breakdown, and then I just trade them. And I was like, but it works for him probably because his risk management is well, his RR is decent, he has a very good mindset and discipline, and he can probably sit on his hand for a long period of time. It's like 20% strategy. It's
like the left curve and the right curve.
Yeah.
1% on the extreme. Like I always said this to someone about meme coins. It's like you either need to be like super special, like in a bad way about meme coins, or you need to have an edge, like you know the insider information. When you're in the middle, you're losing money. And I think it applies to trading. Like you either need to just have like so like little confidence in the market that you're just like getting in with just like, this is either going to work or not, and you accept your risk, or you have to have like a strategy where you're like back tested it enough to understand the statistics, understand how well it plays out, how well it doesn't, because those people then make money, and the people that just get into the market and make money. You know, how many people here, or just like when you first got in the market, you made a boatload of money? Most of us, because that's why we stayed, right? Right. But then guess what? The more you spend time you spend in the market, you just go like this. You just like suddenly you lose a bunch of money. You're just like, well, actually, I just started adding loads more stuff to it, like that's supposed to win, and now I lose. Why? Because you're just so naive to the market that when the market starts moving up, you're just like, this is going to continue, and then it continues. And most people look for reversals or try and trade continuations. And actually, a lot of the time is like, when price is just moving in a direction, most of the time it just continues moving in that direction. And trying to time the top or the bottom.
For Forex, man.
Except for Forex.
Infinite ranges, man.
That
infinite ranges.
Even then, like, just time frame difference, right? Go on the 1 minute. When that thing when that thing expands inside that range, it can just fucking expand. But like, guess what? You missed the move. Like, and then you're just stuck waiting for the range to then redevelop for like 4 weeks. It's just like, no thanks. So but like it's the same with the crypto stuff inside like the bear markets, right? God, how many people got bearish at the lows? Oof.
Everyone, bro.
Everyone. Everyone
Except
got bearish at the lows.
Except me.
And then now everyone's getting bearish at the highs because it's close to 100k. What's the chances we just rip through 100k? I don't know, but you know,
high
would be quite comical for everyone to just be like 100k top. Blah,
My timeline is so silent, man.
And then
so many
suddenly
people
it's
are sidelines.
It's 150, you know. And it's just it will run. But yeah,
definitely. But look, with all this knowledge, what's the main reason that people are still not profitable, right? Because if we like listen to you, then it all seems so easy, and it maybe it is, but what's the main reason why people, for example, also in your community, they're also unprofitable traders, of course. Why are they still unprofitable?
Probably because they haven't bought my mentor.
We end it here.
That's crazy. Okay, yo, dude.
No.
You accept credit card?
No, truly,
Yo, say less, dude.
they probably just need to lose some more money and just put more time and effort into it, and like, I don't know, figure out what is actually important. Like we were just saying, it's like probably like 20% system and technical analysis, and then 80% like sitting on your hands and putting the time and effort into it, and making sure, like, I also truly believe that in order to become a profitable trader, you first have to become the person that deserves to be profitable. You know what I mean? You can't be disciplined in trading. That's what I'm always saying. If you're not a disciplined person in real life, obviously you can party every now and then, you can go on holidays, but to really get there, you can't expect to go out every single weekend 2-3 times and then sit there on Monday behind your desk and hungover, wait 5-6 hours without any dopamine spike and expect to, after 5-6 hours, finally get a trigger, and then at that exact moment enter that trade and execute it. It's not going to work that way. And I think that is, if I would have to provide a tip to end off the podcast, probably just make sure that first you become the person that deserves to become a profitable trader, and then put in the time and effort, lose a bunch of money, and then over time, if you really truly want it, then you'll stick around and
build it up again.
100%.
Sure.
Definitely. And how do you look at that?
I always say to people the same thing: do the reps in the market, or do the reps however you want to do them. But like, for me, I have so much confidence in my model because I've done the back testing, I put the reps in the market, forward testing live, done all that. So I understand my edge, and my edge is that the model loses, and when it loses, that's okay. And I've said it before, but like, the outcome is out of my control. I just know the probabilities are in my favor because I've done the work. That's it. Like,
exactly.
If you do the work, and someone asked me, "Oh, I was winning and now I'm losing." Okay, but how long have you been losing for? 3 months. How long are you winning for? A year.
There
you
it
go.
Doesn't really sound that bad to me, bro. Like, you're winning 3 times more than you're losing. Okay, now understand that. Go back test that for the last 3-4 years. Understand, how often do you lose for 3 months? Do you have the data? Oh, I got into this trade. Okay, do you know that your model plays out at that time? What's the statistics around your model playing out? So I think statistics for me are a big thing, but only from a back testing perspective, because statistics aren't going to allow you to make money if you don't have the ability to just click the trade and accept the loss. The moment you accept that, I click the button, I'm down, I've lost the money. And once I lose the money, it's my job to regain the money, managing risk, going break even, trading out of my trades, etc., etc. But I've back tested all of that, so I know that that is how it works. I don't take partials. Some people do. I'm not going to argue with you about it. I've done the reps. If you're suddenly struggling with something and you're not understanding why you're losing, go do the reps, do the back testing, understand, is it profitable over a long period of time? If it's not, change something. What isn't working? Remove one concept out of it. Does it increase your win rate? Does it decrease your win rate? It's not easy to go and do all that statistical back testing. Sure, there are companies out there that allow you to do it, but actually doing the work makes it undeniably, like, the way you feel about your model, that it's profitable. You can't cheat that. You can't buy that. I can give everyone in this room my model. You'll all understand it. But hey, you would have started trading it 2 weeks ago. You'd be like, there's no way this guy makes money. Because why? It's like 4 break-even trades and 2 losses.
Right.
So
that's the way to a 2 million payout.
Yeah.
It is. How do you feel about that, Max?
I think I back it 100%. I think too many people, they want to adapt too quickly instead of optimizing. That's the biggest difference that I've had with just, your confluences. Like, I can write my model on a piece of paper. You're very familiar with it. Yip is very familiar with it as well. You can understand it, but how do you perform with it? What's your dissection of it, and your performance, your data? How long have you been with it, sitting with it? It's the repetitions. Just show up and do that for a very, very long period of time, and you'll eventually get it. It'll click soon enough. So.
Definitely, like patience, confidence in yourself, which is very, very important. Confidence comes with doing the reps, right? Doing the reps and get confident in your own system.
Yep.
That's definitely the most important. Yeah, thanks, gents. I think we discussed a lot of interesting things. We were more than an hour in, I see. So I want to thank you for your knowledge. Thank you for all the things you shared. It was a very nice one.
100%.
And
man. I really
up,
enjoyed it actually.
Good, yeah,
for
I
the
enjoyed it.
next one, guys.
Yeah,
So I
thanks
want
for
to thanks
having
Max,
Yeah, thank
Kane.
you.
Thank you, man, for coming here
No,
all
you're
the way from
welcome. I
UK.
enjoyed this.
And Jip, thanks, my man.
It's my pleasure.
Hopefully you also enjoyed this episode. I think it was currently the best episode we had. So I want to thank you, and we see each other at the next one. Thanks.